Hey everybody. So we are going to talk about the three superfoods to help you boost your health. And this is a really important lesson, which is why I put it first, because these are the three things that we have to get started with right away. Because the first thing that we want to do when you're working with me is we really want to get a lot of vitamins and minerals into your body, because I need to see what processes are actually going wrong. And what we might find is that you might have a vitamin or mineral deficiency. And when we fix that, a lot of things start disappearing. So I want to go ahead and get you eating a couple of foods that are really going to boost that, so you won't need supplements for it. So let's jump right into the PowerPoint that I prepared. Okay, so here are the three superfoods. I'm going to stop my video. Sorry, I have technology challenges as always. It takes me a minute to find things. Okay, so again, we are talking about the three superfoods today. These are the three foods that I think are the most nutritionally dense that we can include in our diet. So these are things that are really going to give us a huge nutritional boost and support our health in ways that you might not understand until after you do it, and then you're going to find why I recommend them. So in order for our body to function, we require a couple of things. So for certain cellular and enzymatic processes, we need a lot of minerals, things like calcium, magnesium, potassium, iodine, manganese, vanadium, everything on that chemical periodic table, our body actually needs to function, our cells need in order to work. And so we have to make sure that they have enough to be able to do that, because our body's really clever. A lot of times when it's missing something, it'll make up for it in another way. And so we want to make sure that it has everything it needs, so it's not trying to make up for it. We also need amino acids to function, things like tryptophan, alanine, leucine. These are really helpful for cognitive function. They are also helpful for inflammation, and these are the things that build our muscles and make us strong. So if you ever go to a supplement store and you look at like an amino acid supplement, you might find that they actually sell these. Again, they sell them to bodybuilders, like pre and post workout stuff always has a bunch of amino acids in it. So these are really, really helpful for that. And you also find too, if you look at like brain boosting supplements, they also include a lot of amino acids in those too. So they're good for a multitude of things. And they can also help stabilize mood function, which is what we are going to be using them for. We also want to get fat-soluble vitamins into your diet. These are things that people tend to be low in: vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin K. These are fat-soluble vitamins. And I'm going to show you what foods to eat so that you don't need to be buying a supplement and it goes into your body a lot easier. There are water-soluble vitamins that our cells also need to function. And the biggest one is vitamin B. This is all of them. There are a lot of different types of vitamin B. So I'm going to show you how to get that into your diet, and vitamin C, stuff like that. So those are the main things our cells and enzymes need to function and do their job. And then also our body runs on two different sources of energy. So the main thing that our body needs to function is one of two things, and that is fats or sugars. So we either use fats or we use glucose to do what our body needs to do. And so you might guess which one is going to be the healthier source for us to run on. The fats are actually starting to be shown to be healthier for our body to run on, things like omega-3s. And we do need omega-6s, but we need healthy forms of omega-6s. So you're going to find that things like carbohydrates, like potatoes and bread and other types of direct sugar, so maybe candy or cookies, this type of stuff, it does give us energy. Like it will make us hyper and excited, right? But long term, it's not good for our cellular processes because it can wear us down quickly. So fats are actually a better source of energy, and we are going to talk about that in another lesson. But for today, we're going to talk about cellular and enzymatic processes. So let's move on. So when our body has everything that it needs to operate, there are no mood swings or anxiety issues. So I want that to kind of sink in a little bit. So that's what we're aiming for here. And what we're going to do today is we're going to use the 3 superfoods to really give our body that boost to help it get back to that state of normalcy. So some of the most common causes of depression, anxiety, and mood swings, guys, are vitamin D and a vitamin B deficiency. Really, really common. So we are going to go ahead today and get that in your diet so it's not a problem for you, and make sure that that is taken care of. Another thing that can cause mood swings and anxiety issues is contribution from food sensitivities. Maybe you're gluten intolerant and you don't know it, and your body is just inflamed. So a lot of times when people take that away, they do really well. Sometimes it's not gluten. It could be eggs. It could be rice. It could be whatever it is that you're sensitive to. So this can contribute sometimes. It's not always the case, but it can contribute. And I want you to be educated on the things that can cause these problems. Another thing that can cause this commonly is thyroid or hormonal imbalances. This is really frequent, and we can help mitigate this with nutrition and herbal work. So we're going to be doing that. And then also sometimes the thyroid and the hormone imbalances are either caused or exacerbated by vitamin D or vitamin B deficiency. So really important to go ahead and get that in your diet so it is just not a problem. Okay, so how do we do that? So you might think we take a pill. Unfortunately, pills are not very efficient. Often what happens is when you get something off the shelf, it doesn't contain the proper form of a vitamin or mineral that you need. Like it might be chemically modified so that our body doesn't know what to do with it, or it might just have the wrong form in general. And so, and sometimes these things can spoil sitting on the shelf. They aren't meant to be in pills. Where we should be getting our food from, or our vitamins and minerals from, is food. And so our body knows what to do with food. It has not developed with pills. It doesn't know how to optimally use these. Sometimes it doesn't even break down pills. Sometimes people actually are peeing and pooping out a lot of pills that they put into their body and aren't getting anything out of them. So we're going to do this more inexpensive and with a more absorbable form, which comes from our food. So we're going to do that with the superfoods. And I really want to encourage you guys to try to eat these foods, because if you eat them regularly, they can really, really give you a huge boost in how you feel. It is so worth a try. Give you a lot of energy, a lot of sustainable moods, and it's just, you really do feel the benefits. It takes a little while for stuff to kick in, so don't think that, after you have it once, you're going to feel great. But if you give it about a week or two, you're going to notice some differences, and it's different for everybody, but you will feel different. So stick with it, give it a try, and I guarantee you are going to like it. So I'm going to help guide you through this process too, to make it easier so you won't be struggling with how to cook these things, because they are slightly irregular foods that most people don't put in their diet. So for the minerals that I talked about earlier, things like calcium, magnesium, potassium, iodine, everything else, we are going to be getting that from seaweed. Seaweed has just about every mineral in it under the sun. And so when we start taking that, we make sure we get those levels up. For amino acids, we can get those from bone broth. Some of you might be eating bone broth already. If you are, congratulations. You don't have to worry about it. If you aren't, don't worry. It takes 5 minutes to cook. It's also very tasty. For fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin D, A, E, and K, we're going to be getting these from liver. Vitamin K actually does not come from liver, but these other ones, you will be getting it from there. And don't freak out yet. I am going to show you how to cook this and cook it so it tastes decent and that you aren't going to freak out about it. Water-soluble vitamins, vitamin B, all of them, right? We're really looking for those. C, and we're going to be getting these from liver and seaweed. Liver is the biggest source of vitamin B that we can get, and it is one of the major causes of mood and anxiety issues. So it's really, really important that you have these foods regularly so that we can get this problem out of the way for you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to cook these things. Please let me know if you have any questions during the week. As always, email me. So your homework this week is to get these foods into your diet regularly by the end of the week. So you have plenty of time to be doing that. and there is going to be a bunch of details in the videos that show you how to do this. Places to find these things. So for the seaweed, you can generally get this at any Asian supermarket. They're going to have it, even the itsy bitsy tiny ones, you will find seaweed. And I'll talk in the video about what kinds you need. Chicken liver, I would recommend getting an organic chicken liver from maybe an organic food store like Whole Foods or Earth Fare. If you don't have one of those, a lot of times local butchers will carry these items, so you can get those there. Bones for broth, you can get these from the same place. Organic food stores or a local butcher will have them for you. And then after all of this, I'm going to be sending you a PDF with cooking instructions, so you can print that out and you don't have to rewatch these videos every time you want to see them. All right. So if you have questions, again, let me know. Once you've completed this assignment, you've cooked the foods that are suggested, you're eating the seaweed and the bone broth daily and the liver weekly, like suggested, go ahead and move on to the next video in the playlist. So that would be lesson 2. You can complete these things as fast or slow as you need. Like if you're really motivated, you can like book it through a couple of these in a day. But please try to get this done by the end of the week, or maybe if you're busier, you need to like do a video every 3 days or something. Just try to make that your goal so we can go ahead and move on, because we do only have a month to work together. So I really want to get in as much stuff as possible and make as much progress as possible in that time together. All right, so let me send you to the video that I'm going to have you watch. Hold on one second. All right. Okay, oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Again, I am having technology problems. Oh, okay, desktop. You should be able to see. Okay. Show. We're going to want to go here. Okay, great. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you guys how to make bone broth today. This is the #1 food that I recommend for all of my clients because I see so many amazing things happen with this food. So if you are already eating bone broth, great. Please go ahead and watch this just to make sure that you're doing it right. If you aren't, then let's get started. So the main ingredients that you are going to need to make bone broth are going to be bones, carrots, onions, celery. Those are like the 3 things that you're going to want to buy. So I have a 7-quart slow cooker here. I don't know what you own, but for a 7-quart slow cooker, what you're going to want to do is fill your slow cooker up about halfway with bones, and then use your veggies. I usually go through about 1 whole onion for the slow cooker, and about half a bag of carrots. So this is a 1 pound, so maybe about half a pound of carrots, and a couple stalks of celery is normally what I put in here. So you will want to adjust accordingly depending on your size of slow cooker. So let's talk about bones, because this is really important. So when you get bones for your bone broth, the best thing to do is get quality ones, like maybe from an organic place or a local butcher. Butchers are great. So I get mine from Gore's Meat Market in Stevens City, and they sell these for really cheaply. So I got this like huge bag of bones for $8. This will last me like 6 pots of soup. So honestly, it's like $1 or $2 per pot of soup. That's all I'm spending. The best kind of bones to get here are going to be things that are joints, if you're able to. So if you can get like knuckle bones or feet are great. Things that, like I said, joints, neck bones for chickens. I know this sounds a little bit, you might be squeamish. So if those things kind of freak you out, you can get very clean cut bones that are clean and prepared. These are actually really nice. They don't look like much of anything other than a hunk of something. Like they don't look like somebody's foot. But feet are really great because they have so much gelatin in them. So if you can get feet into your crock pot. That's good. Chicken feet, that sort of thing. Going to be really helpful. So let me show you. This is a really big bone, actually, right here. This is bigger than I normally see them. They normally come in like thin little segments like this. So honestly, probably 2 of these is all my crock pot needs. Very big. So I'm going to put this in so you can kind of see the size. So you'll want about 2 of those into your crock pot. And then you're going to want the ½ pound of carrots. And we are making broth here. We aren't making fancy soup. So your carrots don't need to be cut up fancy because you aren't actually going to be eating these. We're going to strain this out afterwards when it's done. So just take your carrots, and I honestly just break them up and put them straight in. I do cut off any brown parts or anything, and those go straight into the crock pot. This should take you all of 5 minutes to make. It's really not a fancy process at all. It just goes right in. It doesn't need to look pretty. And then you can take your onion, and you're going to want to chop this up, pop it in here. Make sure you take all the brown stuff off. You don't want to be putting that in there. So I'm not putting this in because this is just for demonstration purposes. And then when you have your celery, cut your celery up, put it right in here. Another thing you can add to this soup if you want, you don't have to. Ginger root is great. You can just cut off a small knob, you know, maybe something about this size, toss it in for flavoring, and you get that added medicinal benefit. Garlic, fabulous. So you can add a couple cloves of garlic, just chop that up, stick it in here. If you want to do even more, you can get some turmeric and put that in your soup. All of your medicinal herbs can go right in your soup broth. So you don't need to be taking them on a regular basis. You can just put it right in your soup broth, and then you just have it. And you'll also want to use some pepper and some salts in here to flavor this a little bit. I usually go light on the salt because sometimes I'll use my broth for like an Asian type broth, like maybe I'm making the seaweed stuff and I want to use some of this broth instead of the bonito. I like it with less salt because the seaweeds are already salty, or if I put soy sauce in it, soy sauce is salty. So I usually go easy on that and add it afterwards whenever I'm cooking with it or drinking it or something. So you'll do that, and then you'll fill this up with water, right? And you're going to set it on the lowest setting possible. So I set mine, I've got like a 10-hour setting, so I will put it there. And you want to let this go actually for 24 hours. So I'll let it go through 2 cycles. You want to keep it very low heat for a really long time. That's what really pulls all of the gelatin out of your bones and all of the good nutrition out of your food. So you've got your water up there, you let it cook. Okay, so now, after you've cooked, theoretically, let's say it's gone for 24 hours, what you're going to find is you're going to have a bunch of mushy vegetables in here and some bones and stuff. And there's going to be a lot of things floating around and whatnot. But all we're really interested in is the liquid. So you're going to want a strainer. Let me show you my strainer. This is the one that I use for my soup. So it's a little bit bigger than the other one I showed you. That way I can fit it into whatever container I'm keeping it in. So let me show you a container that I might put it in. So after the soup might finish, I want to keep my broth. So I can just take my strainer and just put it right on here. And take my ladle with liquid, and you'll just put your liquid out through here, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have things like carrots stuck in there, and they're going to be mushy and gross, and you don't want them in your soup. So that's what the strainer is for. So the liquid goes down here, and we'll collect it here. And then you can toss the vegetables after you're done. They won't be reusable. If you are using beef bones, you can usually boil twice because they're very big. Like this is really big and thick. This is going to go twice in the pot. The chicken bones, you might only get 1 use out of them. And what you can do is you can pull those bones out, put them in a bag, and put them in the freezer. That's normally what I do. All of my bones stay in the freezer for when I need them. So So once you've got your broth in here, you can cap it, put it in the fridge, and just drink it throughout the week. If you make a lot like me, you've got a big crock pot, I will freeze some of this. So I'll put it in containers and put it in the freezer so I can pull it out whenever I need it. If you have questions, let me know. Again, adjust what you need for your crock pot. This isn't fancy. It's not like magic. The proportions don't really matter that much. You just want to get the bones in there and some flavoring and let it go for 24 hours and drink the liquid when you're done. And what this is going to do is it's going to help heal any inflammation in your intestines and really help your digestion work properly. A lot of people, when they have bone broth regularly, things like allergies start to resolve. A lot of mood issues can start to resolve because we're actually healing our digestion. So this is critical to what we are doing here to help balance our moods and our health, is to really get this in and start healing digestion. And gelatin's going to go in and just smooth everything out and reduce inflammation. So it's kind of like an ibuprofen for your stomach, but it's like the good kind of ibuprofen that's actually going to reduce inflammation and really calm everything down. So it just all works better. All right, so if you have questions, again, let me know. Don't overthink it. It should take you all of 5 minutes to do. All right. All right, hey everybody. So we're going to be talking about the third food that I ask all my clients to eat for good health. Oops. Sorry guys, I put the wrong video on, so let me do it. There are 3 videos that I'm going to be playing for you. So I'm going to go back to the second one, and then we'll come back to this one. This is the last one, so hang tight with me. So today I'm going to show you a little bit of a shortcut. We talked earlier about having bone broth and seaweed on a regular basis, and I showed you 2 ways to prepare those. But now I'm going to show you one way to prepare them in a manner so that you can take them both together, because I realize, like, asking you to eat these certain foods, like, the more that we can combine them together, the easier they are going to be to consume, especially if you're like trying to give these to a child or something. You know, get it all done in one serving. So here's what you can do with your bone broth and seaweed. You can actually put them together into a soup. So what you can do is take a cup of bone broth, and I've got that in here. It's already warmed up. I wanted to go ahead and do this before I started the video. So you can just turn that up to medium heat and let it get boiling. Let it start bubbling. And once it does that, you can just grab your kombu, right? Seaweed that I talked about, and take a piece. For a cup of bone broth, you might want something about this size. If you're having half a cup, maybe half of this size, but I suggest using about this much. And you can take this and just put it right into the broth. And you're going to want to let that sit in the hot water. I wouldn't recommend boiling it. Just let it sit in the hot water and steep like a tea. Like you're kind of making this like a tea. If you boil it, the seaweed can get bitter and bad tasting. So we want to just let it sit in there and kind of leak out into the bone broth. All right, so let me show you kind of what this looks like too. So you can see here. Yeah, so there it is. Just the seaweeds just hanging out in the broth. It's not boiling. It's just steeping like a tea. Okay. Oh, hold on one second. I'm sorry. Let me get this adjusted correctly. All right. So once you've got that done, then you're going to need your strainer. So let this sit for 10 minutes. Let this steep for 10. So I said 10 minutes there, and that's actually going to be 5. So when I talk about the kombu, this is the hard, leathery type seaweed. I apologize for the discontinuation of things. It's a hard, leathery seaweed, and you're going to want to let it steep in the bone broth for 5 minutes. It's a lot quicker. And then when I talk about the wakame, which is the second type of seaweed, you only need to let that actually sit there for about 3 minutes. I timed this actually after I made the video. And all of this is in the PDF that I'm going to give you guys later. So let's jump back to the video now. Minutes. So I'm rushing just for the sake of this video, and then you're going to want your strainer. So let me get a soup bowl. All right, so this is what you would be eating out of. And you can just take your wakame and break off some of this. So I'm going to use about this much. Remember that whatever seaweed that you use, it's going to double in size when you put it in water. So this is going to be quite a lot of seaweed. And I'm going to break this up into smaller portions so that it's going to fit on my spoon nicely when I go to eat it. Okay, so I've got my wakame in the bowl. This has been steeping for 10 minutes. And I'm going to use my strainer, and we're just going to pour it right through the strainer so the kombu doesn't get into the soup because it has a rough texture. If you want to eat it, you can eat it, but for picky eaters, they probably aren't going to want to be eating kombu. All right, so now you have your soup, and you will want to let this also sit for another 10 minutes. Maybe 5. 5 might be okay. You might be okay with 5. You just want to see that the seaweed absorbs all of the liquid and it gets nice and pliable and soft. You want the seaweed soft. And once the seaweed is soft, you can eat it. And you'll know that that happens because the little rolls of wakame, they're going to open up like this and be nice flat sheets in here. And it's going to be easy to eat and ready to go at that point. You can flavor this soup, make it more Asian flavor with some soy sauce. So use maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon of soy sauce, maybe like 10 drops, something like that. That might be easier for you, 5 to 10 drops. When you use soy sauce, please use organic soy sauce or something that is traditionally brewed. Things like Kikkoman are not traditionally brewed. Let me see if I can find out how. And you do have to be careful because on the Kikkoman label they will say that it's brewed or something like that. It's not. They use enzymes and artificial, like the isolated proteins that they put into the soy to do the fermenting. It's not actually fermented by bacteria. We're looking for something that the bacteria have actually broke down the beans and digested. I use this brand because it is live. I see bubbles in my soy sauce. It's got like live organisms in it, and it tastes really, really good. I like this stuff. You can also find gluten-free ones if you are sensitive to gluten. Make sure you get that. You can ask me if you have questions about soy sauces. You can also flavor this broth too if you want to give it a little bit more of an Asian kick. You can use ginger and some garlic and even some sesame oil if you want to use a little bit of sesame oil. So you can have it the way it is, just eat it plain if you want to just go ahead and eat it. If you are a picky eater, let me know and we'll try to figure out a way to make it taste better for you. I think it tastes really good as is, but everybody's taste buds are different, and I want to make sure that this is something that you aren't having to like wrinkle up your face to eat, because I want this to like be easy for you to have and be a pleasant experience. All right, so this is how you make your soup. It looks like it's ready to go now. See how the
wakame is unfolded. It's kind of come apart. It's nice and leafy now. So maybe like even less. So maybe like 3 minutes. And you can start eating your soup in 3 minutes. So just let me know if you have questions. That's it. That's how you do this. Have this once a day, every day, and you're going to find that your mood issues and things, and just your body health in general, you might see a lot of things like indigestion and that sort of stuff start to fade because you're giving your body proper nutrition. All right. Take care. See you in the next one.
Okay, guys, so let's go on to the next video. Again, hopefully you got that. 5 minutes for the kombu, 3 minutes for the wakame to steep. That's all you need. All right, let's go back to, okay. Going to exit out of this. Oh no. Okay.
All right, hey everybody. So we're going to be talking about the third food that I ask all my clients to eat for good health, and this is liver. So you might be going, oh no, liver is gross. Actually, I'm going to show you how to cook it so that it's not gross, because most people don't know how to cook liver well. What you're going to need for this is chicken liver in particular. I don't recommend calf because it's very strong tasting. Chicken's a lot more mild. So you're going to need about 1/4 pound to 1/3 pound of liver. And I recommend that my clients eat this twice a week. So you're getting just under 1 pound of liver a week, and you don't need to worry about that harming you. I will explain why in attachment, but that's going to be fine for most people. And what we get out of liver, so we talked about the seaweed giving us vitamins, things like calcium, magnesium, iodine, and we talked about the bone broth healing the intestines and reducing inflammation so that everything functions properly. What we're getting from our liver is we're getting our fat-soluble vitamins. We can't get these from seaweed or bone broth. We are getting vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, and most importantly, vitamin B. It's loaded with vitamin B. And it's much, much more bioavailable than anything you get in a pill. This is going to go in your body much faster, much easier. It's going to know what to do with it. So that's why we do this. One of the leading causes of anxiety and mood issues is a vitamin D and a vitamin B deficiency. So let's go ahead and just take care of that so that that is not on your plate and that's not a worry. A lot of health concerns come from vitamin D and vitamin B deficiency, so we're going to go ahead and make sure that that's not a problem for you by eating this on a regular weekly basis. Alright, so for this cooking, you are going to need butter, you're going to need liver, and you're going to need a pot here, a pan, and a spatula. And that's all you're going to need. So for butter, I recommend that you get grass-fed butter. I like to recommend people get Kerrygold. That's what I have here. It is very easy to find. I find mine at Walmart. Most places sell this. It's Irish grass-fed butter. And you can just pick up a block of this. You're going to need your liver. Again, I don't recommend that you get something that's like hearts. Make sure it's just liver. You don't want any of the other gizzard parts, things in there. Just the liver. That's what we really want. That's where most of our nutrients are coming from. So another trick that I do recommend people do is take your livers, and if you get them in a big package, you can put them in individual bags like this and put them in the freezer. That way they store for longer, because you aren't going to be going through a big pack of livers in 1 week. You're just going to be eating a little bit. And what this does is it helps us cook our meat better. So livers are a very delicate meat, and they cook like really fast, in under 5 minutes. So the reason liver usually doesn't taste good when you buy it at a restaurant is because they fry it and they don't cook it correctly. So I'm going to show you how to cook it correctly today so it doesn't taste so awful. And the first thing that you need to do in order to get that done properly is to freeze it. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cooking it a nice crunchy outside and a soft center. So we're cooking our liver medium rare. If the inside of your liver is not a light pink, it's probably going to taste bad. So that's what we're aiming for, a light pink center on the liver. So go ahead and take your frozen liver, and put it into the pan. Again, like a 1/4 pound. This is about 3 livers, I think. 3 or 4, something like that. So take 3 or 4 livers and put them in your pan. You're going to want to heat up your pan to medium-high heat, like really high heat, and put some butter in there. Let me correct myself actually. The order in which you should be doing this is turn your pan up to medium-high heat, then butter. Let the butter get all bubbly and crackly and going good, and then put the liver in. I apologize. That's the order you should be doing that. All right, so I already have liver in here that's going, and I'm going to show you what's going on. So this liver is almost completely cooked already. And what you're going to want to be doing is getting it crispy on one side and then flipping it. So see how it's still kind of red here? Hopefully you can still see that. There we go. Now there's some light. So it's still kind of red right here. So this side needs to be cooked a little more. I'm going to flip that over. And here you can still see that it almost looks a little bloody. We're going to be flipping that over. Let it go a little more. Now this liver honestly is done. This piece is done. What you're looking for is when you poke it, kind of like this. When it goes down like that, that means it's still a little bit pink on the inside because it's soft. This one is not soft. It's not depressing very much. This one still needs to cook a little bit. So you will have to play around with this. I'm going to describe it in just a second a little bit more. Let me get the liver off because this piece is going to burn. So you don't want to leave it on too long because if you do, it will taste bad. So see how I'm kind of poking it? I want to see if it's tough or not. You don't want tough liver. It's going to taste really bad. So what you're looking for is when you depress it, if it goes like all the way down, then it's raw. If it goes like about a little bit less than that, then it's not completely cooked. And if you can't depress it very much, then it's really tough. Again, you'll have to play with this. It might take you a couple times cooking before you get a nice pink inside. But the liver takes about 3 minutes cooking. That's it. You don't need to leave it for more than that. So let me cut these open and show you what they look like on the inside so we can make sure we got a nice pink center. So see, I've overcooked this one. It's not pink on the inside. So my demonstration got me distracted. This one's pretty close. It's still a little bit overcooked. And you're going to find that when you cook liver right and you put it in a bowl, just like a medium rare steak, you are going to have a little bit of blood coming out, a little bit of juices, but it's, again, that's all really healthy for you. And if you're squeamish about that, cover it up with something, you know, put some lettuce on top of it or something. I like to fry an egg and put a fried egg on top of it and then just eat it in a big bowl of stuff. Whatever you need to do to get this in your food and have about 3 or 4 of these twice a week is going to be really, really beneficial. So, yeah, this one is cooked perfectly. So let me see if you can kind of see it. See how it's kind of pink on the inside right in here? Yeah, this one's actually perfect. And it's not tough on the inside. It's still pink. Now that's what you're looking for. And then you can season this with salt and pepper. Garlic is also really great on this stuff. Hi. So that's how you cook liver. Very quick. You only need to eat it a couple times a week. I wouldn't suggest reheating it. Liver doesn't taste good reheated because it's such a delicate meat. It's very, very soft. It cooks quickly. You almost need to like cook it al dente. That's kind of what we're looking for here to make it taste good. All right, so if you have questions, let me know and keep moving. All right.
Okay, awesome, guys. Hope you got all that. And hope you got the seaweed thing too. If you didn't, just look at the recipe that I send you, the physical copy. It's all going to be there. And if you have any questions, just email me. Okay, all right, guys. Good luck. Get to work. See you later.